All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Epic Sports Radio, live here at Buns Sports Pub and Grub in Roseville, California. Again, I'd like to do on panel with us today, Sean Allen, people on Facebook here. I want to give a shout out. I didn't say hi to you guys yet, but you know what? I have the orange microphone today, and we've got people with Texas, watching, and I have to do this, guys. Down with the horns, Boomer Sooner. I'm sorry I have the orange mic. Greg Witt, if you're watching from Oklahoma, I apologize for this, but you know what, Texas? Hey, we still love you guys, and I'm going to give a shout out to Cassandra Spears with Spears House Hunters in Austin, Texas. Any of you guys or gals or people out there, anything that you want to do with a home, whether it's buy, sell, anything like that, get a hold of me and I will give out her number. I don't like giving people's numbers out on air because they get a lot of weird phone calls. Granite, also out of Austin, Texas. She's with Granite. She's kind of a magician when it comes to home. She gets it in, she gets it out, and she does it right the first time. So, you know what? Street. And they lost night before last. Lose. I'm like, what? And so, what do you? Real quick, what do you think is wrong with growing pains and filling out period? But what do you think? Yeah.
But, when there's kind of a trade-off, the small ball for the home runs.
Right.
The small ball wins you games.
Right.
Home runs does not.
Yeah,
Well, it does, but not as much.
Yeah,
I good for stats.
Tough.
Right. Yeah.
The-
Because the basics is what. That are the names that people. Yeah, it sure is.
And he won it on hard alone.
He was having some issues with his.
You had just Western style boxing.
Right.
You had Stan Longinitas, Sikatek, Benedict Yerkitas, built super full.
More training.
Well, the
training.
Off the record, I'll speak to that, but right now I won't.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
So
I know a lot more about that than I laid it on you. But the thing is that you're right. The training and where it's a very controversial diplomatic thing that's being handled between the different entities right now, and I see a lot of that going on. You got to pay for this or you got to pay for that. Well, any job that you do as an official, especially if you're under a state commission or whatever, is supposed to be reimbursed by the state. And a lot of these officials now are paying on their own nickel. And so they're not getting...
There goes the problem right there. I understand now what the problem is. If that's the case, then,
Yep. In a nutshell, that's nationwide. And So, you know, I see it. I like to speak about it a little bit, but that's what's going on. That's what I see, and that's the input. Because I talk to so many people at different levels, from promoters to casinos to fighters to trainers and everything in between, and not just MMA, but it's boxing and kickboxing. So that's the thing. Number one is any official is training and keeping them abreast. They had a meeting with after the death in the cage with the Andy Foster called a meeting with the doctors, and they came in and they showed the fight and what could have been improved upon, what was shown, and I talked to a couple doctors about it. But it might be really messy coming up.
So, what do you think? And how much training and what type of training do these refs go through? Now, are there different levels? Like, and we'll just pull back baseball a little bit. You know, when you're an umpire, you start here and then you work your way up these levels, and then they basically have schools and all these kind of things that they go to, and they got things that they have to do to get to that next level. As far as the refs go, is there a certain criteria that they have to do in order to become, go to that next level, and how stringent is that training?
The training, going back to the late 80s, early 90s, was you had to be basically recognized and as a fighter, or you had to be worth your weight in salt to be up there and know what you're doing. There was training. We have training facilities that people would go to, or as judges, we would watch televised fights, and they would judge it. And we would say, why would you qualify that? Why would you do that? As a referee, it's a very tough call, because in the amateur level, you're not making a living at it. So to call a fight to save somebody for not having to go to work the next day.
Right.
Because they got a family to support, and I see all these people rallying for, let's the 12-6 elbow or this and that. Let's split somebody's head open, or possibly called, mortality.
Right.
Why do you want to do that at an amateur level? And this is going on with the Muay Thai community, because they do it in Thailand. Well, Thailand is different than the United States, because in the United States you got to work. You got to go to work. Thailand, you got to go to work. You got to support your family. You got to do what you got to do. But it's not all about, you're an amateur. You're not making any money from it. Be safe about it. You're going to win by your skill, not by one strike. Hurting somebody.
So with that said, now obviously, if a ref stops a fight early, and sometimes it's straight up legit, but sometimes you watch a fight and the upset does either the fighter get or their manager, they think that the ref stopped the fight too early.
It's gotten out of hand to where the fact that I know the IKF is looking at. Okay, instead of penalizing just the fighter, they're looking at penalizing the coach also.
Oh wow!
Because the coach is the one that's supposed to umpire in baseball. You tell the coach, control your players. If you can't take it, pull him into control, then you just walk away.
Right.
So you got to set the precedent for the fighter. The fighter going to be disrespectful as a fighter, then the trainer's more likely going to be disrespectful. Level, doctors even have many fights for UFC and Bellator and stuff.
Right.
If you call about too early for a cut or something,
cut in the head, no matter minor it appears to be, or even when Josh Emmett. Yeah.
By his mouth.
but a lot of us fighters think that they're worth $1 million.
Oh yeah,
And, they outprice themselves in the market, and even starting out.
a promoter, do you ultimately all the way through and contracts and all that?
If you know the fighters, go and get the tickets from them, because they, from what I understand, they get a certain percentage of each ticket that they sell, and but yeah, I mean and I want to jump back to kind of coloring in the lines. There's one gentleman that. And I use that word loosely sometimes, but he's cool now. But Mike Tyson, he
No,
yeah, he told. I mean, he was. You know what? We're gonna take another commercial real quick, and we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna. It has been amongst the ranks for a while. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Epic Sports Radio. I am here live along with Tim Stell and Sean Allen. And hey, all you folks out there, we've been on air for about an hour, minus the commercial break. And I know you guys are